Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are on this wonderful Gooner planet of ours. Welcome back to the Same Old Arsenal podcast. We are still here. We just had a little bit of a hiatus while the boy below goes travelling around the world. The boy next to me has untold things to do, but we're all back. It's so nice that we're all back together. So I'm really, really pleased to say hello, Christopher. Welcome back to the podcast.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be back. Well, for this, but not in England. Although, by the sounds of it, for the last 2 weeks, it's just pissed it down regularly. So,
every day.
I've got out at the right time. I'm getting back at the right time because it feels like spring is starting to be sprung.
Spring is springing, that's for sure. And we have had no rain today, so thanks for that. But I think it's going to come back tomorrow. However, what's not raining down on our parade, is it, young James, is our fantastic wins since Christopher's been away. Leeds, Chelsea, Sunderland. We need to cover it all, don't we, James?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's been a great week, really. What's that? 8 goals scored, none conceded. Yeah, bring it on.
No, you're right. I was thinking.
No, he's right. I've written
it
down in my book. It's 8 goals in 3 games.
Sorry, mate.
That's all right, Chris. Just trying to bait me out there, but it's fine. It's fine. Great week, and looking forward to chatting it through with you, fine people.
I know, and also fine people are in the chat room. So thank you all for joining us. We have to get off sharpish at 7 p.m. tonight. So if you've got questions, just throw them in the chat. We'll star them and try and answer them as we go along. Also, thanks to everyone on audio. Continuing to listen to us is just fabulous. Thank you for all your comments as well. Let's just dive in. Christopher and James, Leeds, 4-0 away. Now, we're not going to spend hours because obviously this is quite a way back. But that, boys, that was so important, that win, that I was actually saying to my colleagues, my Arsenal colleague, that if we don't beat Leeds, I think that would have been it for us. Chris, just talk us through, if you can remember back, because you were probably sunning yourself on a beach somewhere.
I was indeed. Do you know what? It was a lovely game in the end, but first half, I don't think it felt as much like that to me. I don't know about you guys, but I was just looking on the Opta website, and if I tell you there's a chart which kind of plots like the XG, so when a goal is scored and obviously XG goes up, Leeds basically created nothing in the whole game, 0.15 XG. So and if you think about it, when you think about it in hindsight, you look at what chances, or you try to remember what chances they had, a couple of pot shots over, maybe 1 or 2 down Raya's throat. But Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who's been in absolute sparkling form this season, and particularly coming up to that game, did not get a sniff whatsoever. I think there's an argument he could have been sent off with one of his tackles, which I think was on Saliba. But you actually look at when our goals were scored, I think Zubimendi on 27 minutes, the first 25 minutes felt like Arsenal essentially doing contain, suss a team out. We do this a lot this season. It's a little bit of shadow boxing, dancing around the ring, take a look at what your opponent wants to do. But once it was clear that Leeds weren't going to be able to break through, they weren't going to cut in behind us, we then just took advantage. And it was the Noni Madueke show, wasn't it, that first half? Because he got the cross in for Zubimendi, and then I thought it was a superb corner, which thankfully has been credited with him in hindsight. And he gets some end product. I think that's the one thing for me, one of my big takeaways from that game. Yes, he played well, but he feels such a sort of, he's either all in or all out type of player. He's brilliant, or you're talking about his end product being just useless. And I just thought Madueke needed that. Once he's got a few of those types of performances under his belt, I think then we can start to talk about him slightly differently, because at the moment he feels like a bit of a yin and yang type player, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, doesn't he?
Well, I think he brings a breath of fresh air, but yes, the end product needs to be improved on, and I think it will get there. But his corners are awesome. He actually, I don't know if you know this, Chris, but he actually asked for the goal to be credited to him live in his interview. Did you see that, James? I don't know if you remember seeing Madueke saying, "You need to give me that goal's for me. Why is it not?" And then literally the next day it was given. So the performance at Leeds, James, was awesome, wasn't it? Considering we'd just lost to United.
Yeah, I mean, it took me by surprise a little bit because I never thought this would be a 4-0 game. I always thought going to Leeds away, it could be a really scrappy, hard fought, hard battled 1-0 win. And I'd have been absolutely fine with that. I just wanted us to respond from United, get the 3 points, get back on track. And Leeds' record at home is fantastic. Like going into the game, I think they only lost a couple at home. Like Chris said, Calvert-Lewin's in red hot form. They're actually looking like a really solid Premier League side at the minute. I know they're not, safe from relegation just yet, but they are these past couple of months. I mean, since December, really, they've been in red hot form. So this was always going to be a tough game. And we made it look, I think you've got to say we made it look easy. And there's so many positives to come out of that game. Madueke in the first half, getting the goal, getting the assist, absolutely fantastic. Gyökeres getting on the score sheet, which he's now followed up with. He's had a brilliant start to the year. So lots of positives. And thankfully, that went into the subsequent games as well.
Just touching on Gyökeres, because he's on my list. We've all supported him on this podcast. And as you know, I don't know if everyone does know, but my colleague at work still doesn't rate him. I didn't have a conversation today. We were both so busy and I can't bother to go into it with him. I think what's going on there, Chris, is the confidence building. You probably haven't seen Arteta talk about Gyökeres because obviously you've been away.
Yeah.
But you have seen him, but he does feel, doesn't he, that he's a confidence player. So the confidence is coming, the goals are coming. He's already put in the hard work. He does the hard work. And the fact that I don't know how many he's got, I think 6 now. He's taken over own goal. And I think, and I'm just going to say this, is Kai and Victor the answer to getting us over the line? We were not, I don't think any of us were actually thinking about Kai and Victor playing together. We were like, it's going to be Kai Havertz and Vic will come on. But I think this could be a great partnership. Thanks, Gentile. I was thinking that as well.
Yep, potentially. So was that aimed at me or was that aimed at...
Yeah, for you, Chris.
So, I'm just looking at it now. So he's got 8 goals in the Premier League, 1 in the EFL and 4 in the Champions League. So he's on 13 this season. I think I wrote about it in the blog either yesterday or the day before. It might have been yesterday morning, obviously time zones and all of that, a little bit different for me. But when I was talking about that game, or even the preview to that game, in my head, and I feel like I said this at the start of the season, if he gets 20 goals in all competitions, he's probably done what we need him to do. Because we expect Havertz to score, we expect Saka to score, we expect Madueke to score, Odegaard to score. Hey, we've got Zubimendi scoring, Declan Rice. We spread the goals in across our team. So what we need, the new signing to do, is 20 goals, all competitions. Now, that could be 14, 15 in the Premier League. Maybe it's like 12, 13 in the Premier League. If you're saying he scored 8 goals in the Premier League at the moment, we probably need him to get another 4 to 6 minimum. It should be able to do that depending on the type of game state. I think there's a lot of that with the certain types of players that we've got. There's connections, there's who's working with them. And I think I'm going to steal this actually from the guys on the Arsenal Vision podcast, but it's only just because I agree with them. Because I think Clive was saying when they were talking a post Sunderland game, and they've said it for a few weeks, partnerships on the connections. I saw it against Leeds, Havertz being closer to Gyökeres. My first impression was that Havertz was playing as like a second striker, but he's kind of playing this weird hybrid between in and out of possession. And sometimes he is right upside there alongside Gyökeres when we're attacking in certain play transitions. But then sometimes he's just dropping back into that midfield and when needed. I think even on Saturday's game against Sunderland, it was his block, Havertz's block, which stopped a Sunderland player from scoring after a rare mistake. So the connections are right. And I have this question in my head as well, which maybe we explore on another day because we haven't got enough time today because we're going through a lot of different content pieces. I just have this weird feeling that the connection between Odegaard and Gyökeres doesn't really work because of the type of players they've got. But Eze does work with Gyökeres. Havertz does work with Gyökeres. I think even Marino might work with Gyökeres, but it doesn't feel like Odegaard's there. So there's a question mark to be had, which is, do we need to actually not move away from Odegaard, but do we need to be finding more players that suit Gyökeres so that we can bag the goals? Or Am I just thinking this too much? And maybe it's just a mix and match thing, because we can have Gabriel Jesus playing, you can have Havertz up top, and Gyökeres not playing. So I don't know. Food for thought.
But, it's really interesting you say that. But the nice thing is that we can have different options, because when Saka's back and Odegaard's back, you can have Havertz, can't you, James? So we can mix and match, which is a great thing that we've never, ever had before. This is situations where we're going, honestly, Chris, we just didn't even miss Saka on the weekend. And when have we ever said that? We've always said, oh, he's injured, this is a nightmare. But to be honest, James, we didn't miss him, did we?
No, not really. But I mean, that just goes back to the squad building that we did in the summer. I mean, we're missing Mikel Merino now, but it's like we're not really talking about that absentee that much, because we've got so many players that can fill in, deputise, and if anything, our squad is a little bit too bloated at the minute. So we're in a really good position in that sense. But I just wanted to touch back on what Chris was saying about the connections between Gyökeres and Havertz, because I think that's something that's really coming to the fore in a minute. But with this potential injury that we've got to Trossard at the moment as well, something I would really like to see going into the Brentford game. And I don't want to jump the gun here and start previewing that match, but we haven't seen Eze on the left since that Villa game, right? I think this is a really good opportunity where we can have him on the left, Havertz playing that role that he did at the weekend, and then Madueke or Saka if he's back. I don't think he will be, but Madueke on the right, and then Gyökeres up top. I think that massively plays to Gyökeres' strengths, because I still remember going back to that game against Nottingham Forest where Eze made his home debut. He put that ball across to Gyökeres and it was instinctive. It was almost telepathic. If Eze's got that understanding, if Havertz has got that understanding, and if Madueke can just work on his end product and cause a bit of chaos, then I think that all feeds into getting the absolute best out of Victor Gyökeres. And you've also got to throw Martinelli in there as well, because he seems to be building a bit of a relationship with Gyökeres. So it's exciting that our attack is working like this. The big man is coming into form at the exact right time. And I've been very critical of him. There have been times I've really doubted whether he's up to the standards. But this year, I mean, he's been amazing. Really, really pleased with what I'm seeing. It's not just the goals. It's like the all-round play, the hold-up. I think he's really discovered himself in this Arsenal team. And I think the players, the manager are finally working out, okay, this is who he is. This is how we get the best out of him. And it just seems to be, it's taken a bit of time, but it seems to be all falling into place.
Can I say one more thing just about Gyökeres?
Yeah, and I want to come back on that as well. Yeah.
Go on then, you want to do your bit?
Oh, I'm just saying, I've said from day one, and we've just got to give players chances to settle. I've stood for Gyökeres since day one. I'll still stand for him. No one knows if this is the right answer for us, but at the moment, all I can see is a boy that's trying to play as much as he can, and physically, this is exactly what we need up front, and he's starting to score what we need. So I'm just saying, people need to just have a little bit of patience. I'm telling you, Henry wasn't great when he first started. I'm not saying he's going to be Thierry Henry, but let's just see how this plays out.
Yeah. So the thing I wanted to say is, if you think about Gyökeres, he basically scores three types of goals, doesn't he? He scores ball over the top. I don't know what's happened to my camera. It's just suddenly decided to switch itself off. I'll keep going. He plays ball over the top. There's a ball over the top, and then he's running onto it. Or what he does is he scores that kind of goal where it's outside the box, like he scored against Inter Milan, and he just leathers it. He just absolutely rock hammers it with his boots. He's got a powerful shot. Or the third type of goal, which we've seen in recent weeks, are that scrappy, weird type of, not weird, it's a poachery type goal. If you think about the goal Martinelli scored, or he scored against Martinelli's cross for Martinelli's cross at Leeds, that was a cross in front of your man, sort of half sliding, shinned it in, great, don't care, it went in, who cares? The goal at the weekend, the first one, was a similar sort of goal. It was a touch from Havertz. He's half falling over, but he's essentially just leathered the ball so hard that it just goes in. So as long as we're getting him into that, my point is, as long as we're getting him into those positions, i.e. scrappy things in the box or getting in behind, which is going to be more difficult, or even that leathering the ball from outside of the box, that's going to be quite difficult as well. I think because he doesn't take up those positions. Inter Milan was an unusual one because they were attacking. And so he got that kind of space to put in. But we need more of the goals that we've seen from him this week. Just get in front of your man and take up the right positions as well. Maybe he's learning about his team and when they put the ball in a bit more.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's just giving us options, isn't it? I just, having Havertz back, which we should jump now onto Chelsea quickly. Unfortunately, I was let down late, and I wasn't able to go on Wednesday night, which is such a shame because he's back. It looked incredible. That last minute. Were you there, James, on Wednesday evening?
Yeah. I can confirm those scenes at the end were pretty spectacular.
And it's Havertz and Martinelli. Hold on, it was Martinelli and Havertz were running towards you, weren't they, down the clock end?
Yeah.
So when they've got the ball over the halfway line, you just know, right? Now, the funniest thing about all of this as well is that John Terry on TikTok, because I was alerted to this, I had to go and see it the next morning, is filming himself watching it, saying Chelsea need to get the ball in, blah, blah, blah. And then he's continuously going, he's offside. He's got to be offside. He's got to be offside. And he's actually filmed himself with Havertz scoring the goal. Now, of all people to score, James, that's it, isn't it? That's all you want is Havertz to score that. And I don't understand Chelsea's game plan. We were the goal up. What were they doing? I don't understand. And the manager moaning that we were inch over there, in the warm up. It was all a bit weird, and it was pouring a rain, wasn't it? But just talk us through quickly, James, because you were the only one there, what it was like.
Yeah, I mean, look, when I saw that Chelsea lineup and I saw there was no, Reece James in it or Cole Palmer, and it just was no attacking threat on that Chelsea team, I looked at it and immediately thought, oh, okay, this could quite easily be a very comfortable evening. And that's kind of as it transpires. In that first half, it was a really dull affair, let's be honest. But we didn't have to attack. The onus was on them to try and open us up. And I felt like we were kind of intentionally playing a bit slower than we normally would. And look, we do play very slow football sometimes, but it felt like when the opportunity was there to push men forward, we didn't take that opportunity. And I don't think that was necessarily the wrong thing to do, because we were the ones that were in control of that game. We were the dominant force in that sense. And then when they did eventually bring on the likes of Palmer and Esteval, and the game could have got a bit more open, it just never did. I think it was just a little bit too little too late. I understood the game plan. I understood what Rossini was trying to do, but it just played totally into our hands. Like when you play like that against us, and especially when we don't need a goal, like we can make those games very, very dull affairs. So it wasn't particularly spectacular. But then obviously when it did start to get a bit more open towards the end and Chelsea realised in the last 5 minutes, okay, we actually need to score here, otherwise we're going out. That's when that Havertz opportunity came up. And it's a lovely little bit of interplay between, first of all, Hincapié, who was sensational on the night, I thought, so good. And then he heads it away into Trossard, Declan Rice, brilliant ball from Rice. And then there was no way Havertz was passing that to Martinelli. And I know he got a goal and an assist against Kairat, but it's really just felt like a big relief for him to get a big goal in a massive game. And you've got to say, I think the way we've managed Havertz since coming back, I know not everyone's been in favour of it, and he wasn't in the squad against United, and it's been very slow paced, but we've done it well, I think, because now we're really reaping the rewards of taking our time with him, because his level is so good. Like the fact he's been out for a year and he's come back and he's this good, like it's, for me, that's mental. And if we win the league, I think Kai Havertz is going to play a big part in that.
If we win any trophy now, he's going to play a big part. But interesting you should say that, though, because I thought his level had gone up. I thought it was going to take him a long time to I thought we would see the Havertz for the first few months when he joined us. Like it'd be a bit, not sloppy play, but, wasn't like this. But he's come out all guns blazing, excuse the pun. And he just so wanted it. And what I love about this team is everyone wants to play for each other, which is fabulous. But anything else on Chelsea, Chris, that you want to talk about? Because it was just wonderful. The celebrations at the end, you could hear it through the TV, so loud. It was an incredible moment for us and Havertz as well.
Yeah, I really feel like I've been denied it, because as I was saying to you guys before we went live, it was like it started off at 2 a.m. where I was, and bearing in mind I'd been drinking all day as well, so I was asleep by midnight at least. So I woke up in the morning to see just the result because it just popped up on my feed saying we'd won that 1-0. And I thought, without looking at anything, I thought that must be a Arsenal score maybe on 30 minutes and basically keep Chelsea at arm's length for the whole game. It sounds to me like what happened is that we did just keep Chelsea at arm's length for the whole game. We just didn't get that goal earlier. And so really it was just a wonderful cherry on the cake. And to see people like, I think he's the Chelsea YouTuber who's on TalkSport, Rory Jennings, I think his name is.
Don't start me
I
about
saw
him.
a video of him when he was talking about that and why he hates Kai Havertz so much. And he's just going on and on and on about why did it have to be him and for it to be him and then for us to just go out without a bang or a whimper. It was just like nectar. It was nectar. Hook it to my veins. It was just great to watch. Great hate watch TV.
I think it's
opposition like that.
I think it's fabulous we scored so late. I think it's just even better than sitting at 35 minutes 1-0 up, parking our bus or whatever we would have done. It's just fantastic. The fact that they didn't come out against us, bizarre at the end. It's like they didn't know what to do. It's like and for the first time I feel like this, it was like men against boys, and I was so proud of the team, and I loved that it was Havertz. Anyway, moving on because we need to. Sunderland on Saturday, right? So I was there. You two weren't, were you? No. So you two weren't there. The atmosphere was really cool, much better than it has been recently. I think the buzz of getting to Wembley. Unfortunately, there was quite a few spare seats, and I don't understand this. I know there was travel issues with trains and things, but it's such a shame because so many people wanted to go. Atmosphere was good. I thought the performance was fabulous. I was really pleased with how Sunderland played as well. At least they came out and tried to have a go, Chris. They didn't park a bus. They tried. They obviously just weren't good enough, but their fans were good fun. They were praising us. And obviously what you don't know, the night before I was on BBC Radio Newcastle talking to some ex-Sunderland legends. Honestly, whenever I go on that radio station, they ask me on for Newcastle or Sunderland when we play them. They're so respectful. It's so different to the London stations. They really respect Arsenal. And they asked me who was going to play, and I got it completely wrong. I said, I reckon Gyökeres will start and Havertz will come on. And it was totally the other way. But just talk us through your feelings on Saturday as well.
Yeah, well, the first sort of, it was pretty dominant other than, save one or two moments. I think I've got the field tilt in front of me, and it looks like Sunderland had sort of three, just trying to remember it. They had three sort of passages of play, but they were very short sort of bits. The rest of the time it was Arsenal controlling the ball. I thought it felt to me like there were just weird moments in that first half until we scored on 42 minutes where there was just these odd lapses in concentration from like Calafiori, one or two. There was like one from Raya as well, like coming out of his goal. And there was a couple of just weird odd moments. Perhaps we were just a little bit unsettled because the game plan that Sunderland had was a little bit different. But we always felt like we were in control without doing too much. Again, you look at the whole XG stuff, and Sunderland, they didn't create tons in hindsight. But I think scoring first half goals are massive for Arsenal because the game states that we get put up against most of the time is low block. And I know we tend to score first because we don't really give up a lot of chances. But when teams like Sunderland come to your gaff, and if they go 1-0 up through whatever it is, Golazzo, or, in off someone's arse or whatever it is, it completely changes that dynamic. And it also changes who we've got on the pitch. Because I'm starting to think that, you've said this before, Amanda, but Martinelli, you said I want him as a super sub. Well, for me, I don't think like that. I want him in certain game states. If we're 1-0 down at home to a Sunderland with 20 minutes to go, I'm not really bringing Martinelli on because he'll just be hugging the touchline and he's not going to get in behind. If we're 1-0 up with 20 minutes to go, 30 minutes to go against a team like Sunderland, and this is how this game played out, he gets space. The same with Gyökeres, he got space. And so for him to come on as a sub with us 1-0 up, it was almost at home, it's almost beneficial. Away from home, you naturally get more space anyway because teams have a little bit more attacking impetus in front of their own fans. So I think that's why a lot of people have said Gyökeres has looked better away from home. Well, I think it's actually game state. Gyökeres has looked better when we're already winning. But a lot of our counter argument to that might be, well, you need your centre forward to be the one scoring the goals. You can't be relying on him just getting the second or third in a 3-0 win. But at the moment, great stuff, scoring goals, played well. First half until we got that goal, a little bit cagey. But once that goal went in, I just thought the atmosphere changed a bit from watching that on the TV.
Just going to Martinelli and what you were saying, I was going to say about his defense. John said he's good defensively there, Chris. He is. He really is.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, I think he needs a good pat on the back because it doesn't look like he's moaned or thrown his toys out. Because obviously he was always first choice, wasn't he? It wasn't happening this season like that. He hasn't been first choice.
Yeah.
You know, but I absolutely love him, and the fact that he played on the right was so strange to see, but it works so well, and that's another thing that, you know, we can use him for.
Well, yeah, I was just going to say I'd love to get James's view on this because Trossard on the left, he works hard. I think Martinelli on the right, he works hard and probably harder than Madueke. So there are probably moments or periods of a game, and I'd love to get your view on this, James, because otherwise I'm monopolising it, where Martinelli on the right, that's why I feel like it's working. He's getting space at times because it's not just let's just double up on Saka because we've got multiple options. I think game state is a thing. I think also probably it's tracking back and the fact that Trossard is starting to be seen to be doing the same as well.
Yeah, and playing on the right, I mean, he's got 2 assists in 2 games for Gyökeres. So I think it is something that we can actually lean into as being a viable option. And to be honest, I wouldn't be against the idea of playing him in the match against Brentford, because that's a game where you're going to need, you know, backs against the wall at points. You know, it's a tough away game. They're a team that are deservedly very high up in the table. Not going to be easy whatsoever. And, you know, a front 4 of Martinelli, Havertz, Eza, and Gyökeres could be quite exciting and have that nice blend of creativity and workmanship in there. So it's a good option, a really good option. And it's just, again, leaning into all these squad depth discussions we've had in the past. It's just so good, isn't it? Like, to have Martinelli, to have Trossard, I'll be really interested to see come the end of the season, like the minutes shared between these guys, because it feels to me like they're getting a really good balance between the two. Like, I don't think there is a first choice on that left-hand side. I don't think there is a hierarchy. I think it can be one of Trossard or Martinelli. And we need to put Eza back there as well at some point as well. But those are the 2 good options that we've got there. And it's exciting.
I just want to say one more thing on the Martinelli stuff. What do you guys think about this? I feel like when he's on the left, he basically naturally just hugs that touchline. He does come inside sometimes, but not as much. I think because he's naturally a more left-leaning player, when he plays on the right, I feel like he more naturally makes runs infield. And maybe I'm just suffering from recency bias because the 3rd goal that we scored, that Gyökeres scored on Saturday, was basically a ball from a slightly right-hand side, but Martinelli was coming from out to in. He was like essentially coming towards the centre circle. And when he flicked it over the guy and then ran through, Martinelli likes that sort of central run. And so I just wonder if he naturally, when he plays on the right-hand side, he's not going to just go down the line as much as he would when he's on the left.
No, I agree with you. And that's what I was thinking. He did drift in. But what I was just about to say is someone's just asked, you alluded to there was a Trossard injury, James. I've not heard this, but where's this come from? Because I haven't been on social media today.
Well, I mean, I don't know if it's confirmed or anything like that, but all I know is that he went off in the game against Sunderland. But I know that he was celebrated at the end of the game with everyone. So I don't know how serious it is. There were talks of him having a scan. I don't know how true that is. I don't think it's anything serious, so I wouldn't read into it too much. But it might just be one of those ones. He might miss Brentford, and that's it.
Yeah, he came off on 89 minutes, so he's played most of the game. But he did look like he picked up a knock, and they were talking about that on the TV.
Okay, Bilal reposted this stream. Bilal, that's really sweet. Thank you so much for doing that. I don't even know what that all means, but thank you. I'm really not IT-fied. Emerson said he's pulled a hammy. Really? Okay, they're keeping that quiet then, maybe. Thanks for letting us know, Emerson. We have got questions starred for later.
Can I ask a question? Can I get chuck in a striker bomb into the conversation for either of you to answer? Can we talk about Gabriel Jesus? Because I don't think he was very good at all on Saturday.
I love it. Do you know what? Let me just say one thing. If he could score, it'd be incredible. The tenacity of the boy. That it's just he doesn't score enough for me. So such a shame.
James?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think I've been pretty clear on Gabriel Jesus when we've spoken about it before. I think he goes in the summer, and that's absolutely fine. I'm really enjoying his role at the minute, but I don't think he's the answer to start Premier League games. I just think he's lost his pace. I don't think he's lost his skill, but I just think he's too easy to mark and defend out of games. But then again, he goes and shuts me up because he'll come on in the game against Leeds and score a fantastic goal like he did then. So I think I would have him as a substitute. For me, the two serious options up top are Gyökeres and Havertz. But then Gabriel Jesus, he's banging in goals against Inter Milan, against Villa, against Leeds. He's still an option that can score goals. So not writing him off, but I think this is the kind of Gabriel Jesus farewell tour, and what better way to do it than hopefully with a Premier League medal around his neck at the end of it.
Did any of us think he would get, like, honestly, I thought he might contribute like for a few EFL Cup games, and maybe he'd get 1 or maybe 2 goals between this season. He's got 4 already and 1 assist in 16 games. That's not a bad return for a guy who we all think probably isn't actually going to make it.
I just love his tenacity, I'm afraid, and I just love it all. He just doesn't score enough, unfortunately.
I did think he was unlucky. I did think he was unlucky at the weekend because he was essentially like that far offside because he made his run through the centre, and he was when he made the run, I thought he was onside, as in he was in his own half. But literally, when they showed the VAR like semi-automated bit, his front part of his body is leaning in a certain way, and the defender is leaning another way, which casts him out as puts him down as being offside, because he's run through and then been taken out by the goalkeeper. That would be his penalty. He'd absolutely take it, I'm sure, and he might stick it away. So could all be very different because, again, results-based analysis and all that. But he scores that, and maybe we're having a different conversation and saying he scored 5 goals in 16 games, 1 assist. That's not a bad return. Does he play during Brentford? I still think personally, I'd say no. I'd still go with Gyökeres, but
I mean, if he gets 10 goal contributions by the end of the season, that is 10 more than I thought he would get.
Yeah,
so
but also we've got Wigan, haven't we, on Sunday in the FA Cup, which we'll get to in a sec. So maybe he'll start then. So I do think we're going to need to rotate for that. So we've done a quick, review of all the games that we've not spoken on the Same Old Arsenal podcast. And now we come up to the fact that, I mean, I watched the Liverpool City game. I generally thought that Liverpool would get a point. I was hoping they would get a point. That was just such a mad game. It was so goddamn boring for the first half. And the second half, Liverpool actually came out like that. Actually, I don't know if you two have. No, Chris, you wouldn't have seen it. Oh, you have seen it.
No, I watched it from about 50 minutes. As my plane landed, first thing I did was call up my Sky Go, and started watching it. It was on 55 minutes, and all I saw was Liverpool dicking all over Man City.
But they weren't
putting the ball wide with his 50p head. Mark Gahey, I'm sorry, you've got to be off there because Mo Salah's in behind. So, I'm sure Rodri was very happy with the refereeing from yesterday, but we'll park that. They just led a bit of a charmed life, I think, Man City, because I think they said in the commentary that when Bernardo Silva scored that goal, it was their first shot in like 40 minutes going back to the first half. They didn't deserve it.
It was a shame because obviously Szoboszlai, I think I've said his name right, scores the same free kick that he does against us. I mean, he's obviously got this amazing skill at doing that, because that was an incredible free kick. Excuse me. And I said in my head, I'll take a draw now, because I just thought City were going to score, but I didn't expect it to go the way it went, if I'm honest. And was it a penalty? I think it was. The last goal, this whole furor with VAR and all that, I don't think the ref did anything wrong. He played by the laws of the game. And then obviously it didn't make any difference, did it, James? Because it was 3-1, it was 2-1. They were going to win it. It didn't matter. But, people are, Gary Neville, I don't know what everyone thinks about him. He drives me insane. I know Sky are desperate for a title, they want 2-3 teams in it. I get it, because last year they didn't have it, did they? By now Liverpool virtually won the league. And I know they're desperate for it. But we started off the weekend 6 points clear. We end the weekend 6 points clear. But apparently City are now in a title race. But James, they're always in the title race. So I don't really understand the narrative. I sort of do. I get they're trying to make an excitement and they want to build it. We're coming into mid-Feb now. He just drives me insane with what he says, how he talks about other teams. Yet he doesn't want the law. He was like, "Oh, give them the goal." There was 2 fouls and all this. If this was Arsenal, James, he'd be like, "No, should be pulled back. That's correct. That's the decision." He just absolutely hates us, doesn't he?
I don't want to touch too much on Gary Neville, because I could talk about him for ages. But yeah, his commentary yesterday was absolutely insufferable. He just comes across as such a know-it-all.
Yeah.
It's really, really irritating. It's really hard to listen to. He's just become more and more and more arrogant as the years have gone on. Like, if you look at his really early Sky pieces, like, he was quite not shy, but a little bit more reserved, quite analytical, whereas now he's just spouting nonsense all the time. He's got way too big for his boots. But anyway, I'm going to park that conversation for another day. It was frustrating yesterday, because when Liverpool got that goal, you think, okay, surely, the worst case scenario is that City get a draw out of this, because it was late in the game. It was pretty much the exact same time that Szoboszlai scored that free kick against us. But if I was a Liverpool fan, I would be my head would be on Jupiter, let alone Mars, with the way they handled that last 15, 20 minutes of the game. They looked dreadful, absolutely dreadful. They completely went into their shell, absolutely panicked. And that Bernardo Silva goal came out of nothing, absolutely nothing. Liverpool were pushing on for a second, completely lost their heads, and it just comes out of nowhere. And after that, there was only one other team that was going to get that second goal, and it was going to be City. And it's completely irrational from Alisson, who I thought was meant to be a pretty level-headed, cool, calm, and collected keeper. They get the penalty, no qualms there. They get the win, and obviously it keeps the pressure on us. 6 points, it's nothing. It's a decent lead, but it's one that can very easily be wiped away. And what I'm looking at now is our next, our run-in to the end of the season, and City's running. I'd say they're pretty well matched. There's a lot of games in there that I'd expect both of those sides to win. I think the questions are going to be, when City go to Leeds away, for example, which is one of their games coming up, can they replicate what we did, or is that going to be a potential banana skin for them? So we've just got to keep doing our bit, maintain this lead as much as we can, hope that they slip up every now and then. But that game with the Etihad is going to be huge. Let's say we go to the Etihad and it's still 6 points. If they win that and it then goes down to 3 points, can you imagine the nerves are really going to start jangling if that happens?
Can I just chuck something in? So when we were just talking about that and last season, I've just pulled up. I'm going to share my screen. What I'm about to share is on the left-hand side of the screen is the exact Premier League table at this exact time last year on match week 25, and then what it's looking at the moment. And I'm really surprised, if I'm honest with you. I've got to find the actual share screen. Share screen. Bear with. Check it out. Tell me if you guys can read this, all right? Look at that. So Liverpool were basically 4 points better than us last season. The one on the left is last season. That's this season. But we were 7 points off them this time last season. We're 6 points off City. If you think about when we were at this 25 game stage last season, so last season we'd won 2 games and we'd drawn and lost and drawn, and we were at this point. I don't know about you guys. I'm pretty sure I was saying, "Nah, it's not happening. Liverpool are just too good. They're too far ahead. They've got too many points. We've got too much of a bit. It's not over." But we had injuries and all of this sort of stuff. So if you look at where we're at this season, it's funny how when you're in that position, we're in such a similar position to Liverpool, and yet we're thinking about it totally differently. Why is that? Probably because we haven't done it before, but Liverpool haven't done it for, I think, 3-4 years.
Yes, but they're not. But Liverpool is seen very different in the media, and the narrative is very different with Liverpool. I don't know why we're hated so much. It's come from the George Graham days. We all know, his famous quote. But at the end of the day, I look at it like this: I couldn't care less the outside noise. I've told everyone to be quiet. Don't worry, not be quiet. Don't worry about their noise. Just enjoy this ride we're on. This is the thing. This is the time now, as you're saying, Chris. It's really positive. So when he was saying, "Oh, they're in the title race," they were always in the title race. You're such a dick. I was like, "You're such a dick." You're trying to make this. We've not sat here and said. I mean, I'm not one of those fans that thinks we've won the league, or I'm not like that. And I tell everyone, be quiet. It's a long way to go. The Etihad is going to be like a war we've never been in. It really is going to be like that. I just feel the narrative against us, and obviously I've got this written down here, that the set piece narrative, the boring narrative, at the end of the day, you can't call us boring. You can't call us set piece in the last few matches anyway. We've hardly done any of them. Don't even look like we're scoring from a corner at the moment. But 13 to go. That's what everyone has to remember. And we take it game by game. So, Brentford, give me your predictions, because I know, James, you got to shoot. So, Brentford, what's your prediction, Chris?
I think this is going to be a really horrible 1-0 win.
To Arsenal, yeah.
Yeah.
And Brentford, for you, James?
I'm going to go 2-0 Arsenal.
Why do you have that confidence out of interest?
I don't know. I think I mean, look, I think it's going to be a really tough game, but I also think it's going to be a game where there's going to be space. And they've not got Kevin Schade. Obviously, he got sent off against Villa. But I just think it's one of those games where we look pretty comfortable when we played them at home. I don't think it's going to be as straightforward away, but I think despite their position in the table, we should have enough to win this game.
Brentford are a really interesting football team, right? So they do a lot of they're good on set pieces. They have like the 4th or 5th least amount of total number of shots in the whole of the Premier League of all of the Premier League teams. That's interesting. In terms of where they have possession, like in terms of how deep they are, they're one of the deepest teams in terms of where they have possession. They're down in the top sort of half in terms of but they are the best team in the league at converting their shots. So if I was to talk about how this game might plan out tomorrow, they won't have many attempts, but the quality of their attempts might be good, and they're going to do those bullet throw-ins, and they're going to be decent on corners. So I think that's why I think this is going to be one of those scrappy ones where we're going to have an Arsenal team that is at its absolute best defensively. And then it's about, to James's point, is there enough space to go and get that goal or 2 goals?
Well, I've gone 2-1 because I do think they'll score. So you two think we're going to have a clean sheet. We need to move on to Wigan. Just predictions quick, because what's your Wigan prediction, Chris?
I think that'll be a 3-0.
Okay, 3-0. James?
Oh, I'll go crazy. Let's go 5-0.
Okay, and I'm going 2-0. All right. We haven't got time to get to all your questions, and half the stuff I wanted to talk about, we haven't. Unless, Chris, you can hang on for another 5 minutes.
Yeah, I've got 5 minutes.
Okay. So, James, do you need to shoot?
Yeah, I will love you and leave you guys. Good luck doing the StreamYard outros. That's all I'll say. All right. And with that, I will see you guys in a little bit. Catch you later.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
See you later, mate.
So, Chris, I just wanted to go through a few things more. I want to just touch on Zubimendi and what a signing that's been for us. I also want to talk about, just wish Marino, obviously, good luck, because obviously he's had his operation today. And the next question I'm going to get to is talking about the final. You playing Kepa, or you going to David Raya and playing? So let's just talk about Zubimendi and your thoughts on him. We've got 5 more minutes, so go for it.
I absolutely love him. I think I put a tweet out saying Declan Rice is our player of the season, Zubimendi is our signing of the season. We can talk about how great it was, the feeling of Eze. We may end up talking about how turns out Gyökeres has come good, and he's a 20-25 goal a season, just exactly what we needed. We can talk about how much we love Madueke's ability to beat a player, but hands down, Zubimendi might even end up being the person that I say in the Mikel Arteta era, he's the greatest signing that he's actually made. I'm genuinely that high on
I love him.
Zubi.
Yeah,
He's an
yeah.
absolutely fantastic footballer. Good progressive passing. He's added goals to his game. He picks up the positions, even in wide positions. He's put good crosses in. He's a good crosser of the ball as well. And I would imagine he's a pretty good corner taker. You know, he covers ground. He's not the quickest in the world, but his footballing intelligence is so good that he picks up positions that just make you think, oh, he's just popped up there.
He
Made it
has.
look easy.
He has got an error in him, but you know, no one's perfect.
Very rarely, though. That
but-
Man United one is the one that I can think
Yeah.
of. But apart from that, I can't think of many.
I adore him, absolutely love him, and he's got a great shot on him, which we saw on Saturday.
Yeah.
So Kepa for you in the final, or David Raya? Let's have a look. Got to play Raya in the final, John's saying. I disagree, but go on, Chris. What do you think?
I think you're right, because it's Man City. I think you've just got to play your absolutely best team. Also, this is going to have I think this might have a psychological impact on us, because we might end up playing City a few weeks later. If we played them, having played them off the park at Wembley and beaten them and won our first trophy in a while, I think that has a big impact on us being able to go on and just take the rest of the title. Your husband has said his usual thing about who's going to win the league. I think I have to say, ask me. It depends on. I think we have to have a conversation after that League Cup final. And I think it will also depend on, you know, are we still 6 points clear? Is it 2 points? Is it 5 points? Is it 10 points? You know, that will depend a lot on how we feel. But I think that game has a lot in it. And so for that reason, you've got to play your strongest team. It's Raya, it's Timber, it's Saliba, it's Gabriel, it's Calafiori, it's Zubimendi, it's Rice. Is it Odegaard? It's Havertz. Could be Havertz right now. You know, it might be Saka. Well, it should be Saka. It will be Gyökeres, and it will be Trossard on the left.
Please God, Chris, he has the whole squad to choose from. You know, please God, and then that's an amazing bench, which is our bench has just been incredible, isn't it? Carl, my husband, Kepa in the final, he got us there and better at saving penalties than Raya. See, me and Carl never normally agree, but I think Kepa should be. We have to wait and see. I just think it's a little bit unfair on Kepa. I think he's done well. I don't have any issues with him playing. I don't feel. I know David's our man, but I agree we need to win it. So I'm a little bit torn on all of that, to be honest. But anyway, anything else you want to touch on? Because what I want to say to everybody is, really, really enjoy it. There are going to be games that we're possibly going to draw or lose. That try not to throw your toys out and say it's all over. We're only mid-Feb. We're doing really well. We're 6 points clear. But as we're alluding to, that the game at the Etihad is going to be absolutely humongous for us. The boys don't need our anxiety. The boys need support. And I know those going to Brentford will be as loud as ever. We could only be 3 points clear then, Chris, because obviously City play the night before, I think. So it is what it is.
I think we will be as well. I think it will only be cut to 3 points. So interesting thing I read on the Manchester Evening News, which I sort of half agree with, talking about who's got a more difficult next. They've been very selective the next 5 games. Maybe that's because it brings it up to 30 games played in the season. So we are away at Brentford, and Brentford are in form. They're on the same points as Liverpool in 7th. Yeah. They're playing a Fulham team who have lost their last couple of games and have been a bit patchy. I think that'll be pretty much a slam dunker. When we play Wolves on the 18th, so we've then got a game against Wolves on the 18th, and they don't play in that midweek. So that's obviously our game in hand for the cup run. I don't know why they're not playing, because we're obviously on cup run at the same time, so it might work out differently. Yeah, they haven't selected their game at home to Crystal Palace yet. So when we play Wolves, they play Palace, but we'll have played Wolves then. And if they haven't arranged that, then will be hopefully we've won that game ahead versus Palace. When we play the Scum, they play Leeds United away, which again, you don't know what sort of patchy form Leeds are going to be in, but you'd expect it's going to be an easier game for them than it will for us. So that's 2 easier games for them. No, sorry, I'm wrong. They play Newcastle at home, but I don't think Newcastle have beaten them in God knows when.
No.
They play Leeds the following week, when we then play Chelsea. So again, easier game for them. And then the final one I was just going to say is we play Brighton on the 4th of March when they play Nottingham Forest, who are in a relegation scrap at home. So that, to me, they've got an easier bunch of games than we do.
Yeah.
But I think it evens itself out, as James was saying a little bit later. They've
But
got Chelsea away. They've got to play us.
It could also who wins the Carabao Cup.
Yeah.
The confidence from that on either side, whoever wins it, you just don't know where that will take you. It'll take our confidence much higher than it will for them, because they see it as the little cup. I see every trophy as a major trophy. I don't care what anyone says. But what I will say is we just have to keep playing. Brentford next. Let's not even focus. I will say that when we play Tottenham, I think they've got a 10-day rest. So they are so appalling. They are so appalling. You just know that night, Chris, they're going to raise it. I mean, we'll talk nearer the time, but
this will be a Tottenham team that's as if they're playing for Champions League. It will be it will be a totally rejuvenated Tottenham team who will be. Their fans will absolutely not allow anything else.
They'll demand it.
So they will be 50% better than they would at any stage of this season.
Not only that, though, Chris, they've got to win they may be in a relegation battle, and they'll want to win to stop us, going forward with more points and possibly winning the league. Anyway, we have now come to the end of the show. I'm so sorry we didn't get to any questions, but our next show will be a bit longer. We'll come back post Wigan, I'm sure. So thank you to everyone that's joining us at a very strange time for us on a Monday evening. Thank you all for your questions. I promise you next time we will have a bit more time. And let's just go and beat the Bees on Thursday evening. Hey. So from us to you, remember, always Arsenal.